patch of water under a bum, and she's saying, "I think we're going to have rain. My seaweed's quite damp." Donald McGill.
I suppose that is a double entendre, just about.
I suppose you could say it is.
Do you like it? Is it his sauciness that appeals most?
Of course. I mean, you can't not like his sauciness, but I also love his drawings, and I love his character. I mean, he's a great drawer. Again, the joy of this cartoon museum is it's a feast of characters. He just looks at the real world and he depicts it, and I just am endlessly turned on by that, really.
I love the fact it's very wonderfully systematic here, your choice, because McGill, I think, famously broke down his postcards and cartoons into mild, medium and strong. I think that's pretty strong. I think the man on the oversized man on the little donkey is mild.
This is the outside of a donkey is good for the inside of a man.
Feel good. And then the medium one, which is gender politics, I suppose. This is what my wife has always worn.
Yes.
I now know that this isn't the case, because having met you and talked through some of your choices, I know it couldn't possibly be reduced in this way. But I wondered whether the gender politics in this interested the filmmaker Mike Lee.
They do. I mean, but that's fascinating more from a kind of socio-historical point of view, really. I mean, and of course, there is absolutely no doubt whatever that Donald McGill is deeply sexist and unacceptable. But I don't give a toss about that. I think they're hilarious, and we have to see them in the context of their time.
Do you see him as a pioneer? I mean, he famously fought, and lost an obscenity case in Lincoln in the early 1950s.
What's fascinating about this guy is he was just kind of got on with it as a kind of mechanic who drew postcards, and as I think you were just saying, I mean, he hardly saw a penny piece for the copyright.
2 million postcards sold, over 12,000 designs in his life, less than £1,000 in his world.
Yeah, and he didn't exhibit in Bond Street galleries and have a gallery looking after him. You know, he was just a jobbing cartoonist, and boy, what a job.
I think the other thing that interests me about him, I mean, I suppose you could say that if he didn't make much money, he was compelled to keep doing it to earn a living, but I think it's clear from all accounts that he did it because he loved it, and this was a passion right the way through his long life. Can you ever conceive of doing something radically different to that which you do now? Is filmmaking a lifelong passion? Is it a vocation for you now, pretty well?
It always has been. I mean, I've been compelled to make films all my life, really, and in a way, that's why I didn't follow the route of being any kind of a painter or a cartoonist, because film is more important than anything. And it is, you know, you just do it because you have to. And I think this is a gallery that's full of work by people who were compelled to, or are, because plenty of contemporary cartoonists here as well, to look at the world and capture it and say something about it by drawing it.
How do you use this gallery, Mike? I mean, it's clearly something you've come through over and over again. Is this relaxation? Is this refuge? Is this inspiration, or a combination of all of those?
It's all of us. I love looking at cartoons and caricature. It's a great turn on. It's like looking at all art, and listening to music and all kinds of stuff. It all feeds in and stimulates one's, creative juices.
Do you have a mechanism for inspiration? In other words, I mean, that sounds paradoxical almost, but I mean, do you think when it's time to think about making the next film, is there always a seed of an idea? Do you draw? Do you go to certain places? Or are there many films in your head even now that you'd like to make? It's just a question of finding the time.
There are many films. It's an ongoing thing. Yeah. And life is continuing all the time. And just walking around the street, going anywhere, you get ideas. And the thing about this particular museum is because it's about artists who so clearly look at the world and capture it in a very specific way. That's why I'm very excited by it. I actually live very near this museum, so I'm able to pop into it quite often.